Jeffrey Epstein was the paedophile financier at the centre of one of the most high-profile sex trafficking networks in history. For a special programme, we've brought together a group of survivors here in Washington, D.C., who are prepared to talk about the sexual abuse they were subjected to at the hands of Epstein, and what recovery and justice looks like for them. Wendy, some of these women have never spoken publicly before, until now.
My name is Wendy Pasante, and I'm an Epstein survivor.
I'm Joanna Harrison, and I was trafficked by Epstein when I was 18.
And I am Jenna Lisa Jones, and I'm a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein's at the age of 14.
I'm Shantae Davies. I am a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein, and I met him at 22 years old.
I'm Lisa Phillips, and I'm a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein, and I also met him in my early 20s as well.
Welcome. Thank you. Shantae, if I can begin with you, can I ask what happened when the abuse began?
Well, so initially I had met him one time, and he basically masturbated in front of me on the first encounter. And
when that happened, Shantae, what on earth are you thinking?
Quite honestly, I mean, you're very much in shock, or at least someone who's not apt to being able to have a voice in that situation and to be able to protect your own self. It's almost like very much deer in headlights, where you freeze.
And I understand he took you to his ranch in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm. It's a very eerie feeling to it.
So there are a few people there. It's isolating. How are you feeling?
Trapped.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And I understand he also took you to his private island. Did he sexually assault you there?
Yeah, that's actually where the first actual assault happened, is on the island.
Right. Did he rape you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shantae, you went on Epstein's private plane to Africa. And on that plane was former US President Bill Clinton. Was that weird? Was that normal? Was that unusual?
So yes, it was very unusual. I described it in my journal at the time as like the most eclectic group of people that you could put together and have sort of like, it was almost like a camp feel, because we were traveling to 5 different countries in 5 days. It was very much like a very, just a once in a lifetime trip. And unfortunately it had to be tainted by what, was happening behind closed doors.
Mm. And you have some photographs, I think, of that trip,
mm-hmm.
some of which you've never shown before, which you're mm-hmm. happy to share with us?
Sure, yeah.
So that is you with Bill Clinton,
mm-hmm.
obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what strikes me first of all when I look at it? This is on the plane, is it?
Mm-hmm.
You look so young.
Mm-hmm.
There's no suggestion that Bill Clinton did anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, another picture of Bill Clinton. This was in Nigeria. On that visit to Africa, on the way, there was a stop off in Portugal for the plane to refuel. You gave Bill Clinton a massage in the airport, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like a neck and shoulder rub. Yeah.
Right. And you kept a diary at that time. What did you write about him?
I wrote at the time that, he was kind and charismatic and humble and a great storyteller.
Epstein's ranch in New Mexico was called Zorro. It was vast. You've already told us a little bit about it and how trapped you felt there. Mm-hmm. How would you describe it? What did you see there?
It just had a very cold, dark, eerie feeling in there. I found myself a lot of the times that I would spend there just basically sitting in my room like a mouse in a cage, just waiting to be preyed on. That's what it felt like.
And Shante, you say there were photos about the ranch of ex-Prince Andrew and his wife, Sarah Ferguson. Did Maxwell and Epstein talk much about them?
Oh, all the time. I mean, especially Jeffrey, loved to brag about his well-connected friends, well-appointed friends. He would talk more about Sarah Ferguson, just as far as it was very well known that he had lent money. He made that, it wasn't a secret, and for whatever reason, he used that as like a bragging right that he had loaned her money. And there were, framed photos of both of them with their family.
I'm going to bring in Janelisa and Wendy now. How do you two know each other?
We grew up in around the same friends in Florida. And well, we spent our teenage years, I should say, our young teenage years in the same group in the trailer parks of South Florida.
How old were you both when you encountered Epstein for the first time?
14.
You were
14.
both 14. And Janelisa, can I ask you what he offered you or suggested to you, or how he brought you in?
He didn't offer me anything. My friend did.
Right.
She offered me that. She not only offered me that, but then made money off of me for that. So, we all feel different about certain things, but she is still that demon in my story.
Right. So she said, earn some money by giving this rich guy a massage.
Yeah.
In terms of how it moved from you giving him a massage to him sexually assaulting you, what did you think was going on?
Well, you don't expect that, right? It does start out as a massage, and he's like telling you what to do, and then he just like flips over, and then that whole dynamic changes. And then at that time, you freeze. And so you just buy your time, you're like, I know I'm only going to be in here for so long, right? So you just try to get through it, and then, you don't have to come back.
Joanna, I'd like to bring in you if I may. You have never spoken publicly before.
Correct.
I think, Joanna, you were never planning to reveal your identity, were you?
No, I wasn't.
And did you want the Epstein files to be released?
I actually didn't, because my fear was with the files being released that my name would be released, which it was. And it was released over and over and over again. And
even though it was supposed to have been redacted?
Supposed to have been redacted. There were even times that we reached out, things were taken down, but then new things were put back up. And so it's just kind of a never-ending thing, and you just get sick of it. And it's like, all right, I guess it's my time.
Right. And that's led to your decision today?
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you feel it's been forced upon you?
I do,
in terms of your name being out there?
Well, for all of us.
Right.
I mean, it's not normal to see your abuser's face every day for 6 years on TV, hear their name. You walk in a store and you see him on a magazine. There was once I even went to my mailbox and there was a flyer with his face on it in my mailbox. And that was like devastating for me. And so it's just kind of gets to a point where you're being suffocated and you need to breathe. And I feel that this is my way of trying to breathe.
You had just graduated from high school.
Yes.
So what kind of age are you there?
I was 18 when I met him.
Right. And similar to what we heard from Janelisa and Wendy, a friend said to you, look, you can make a few $100s, rub this guy's back, he's rich. And the first time, and you went along, and that first time, can I ask you what happened?
Very similar to the rest of the girls, is started the massage. Everything seemed normal, I guess. I wasn't a masseuse, so it's not like I really knew what to expect. And then, when he began to masturbate, I completely froze. I had no idea what to do. I had never had a man do that in front of me before.
There was another time when you recall his abuse, and that was his birthday. That was Epstein's birthday.
Yes, yeah. On that day, he raped me. And I didn't really consider it rape at first. It took me a very long time to realize what happened. Part of it is because I had been violently raped prior. And so
By someone else?
By somebody else, yeah.
Right.
And so when that was happening, it was nothing like what I had experienced before. And so it just, you almost feel like you're not getting raped. And he stopped. And so it's like it's a very mind-boggling, because it's like something that just lasts like a few seconds, where it's like you just, okay, that didn't really happen. You can kind of push that down, or that doesn't count.
When did you realise it was rape? He had raped you, you had not consented.
It was one of my friends had to tell me, and they're like, he knew you didn't want to do it. You were crying. You had told him no over and over again prior to that. God. So it really like hit me when she said it, but I had to hear it from somebody else.
There are other survivors who don't want to be identified. And I've been talking to one of them. We're calling her Nikki. It's not her real name. Like Joanna here, she is speaking publicly for the first time, and she tells me why.
I want to stay confidential for a variety of reasons. It is very challenging. It's hard to make this decision, but ultimately there is collateral damage, not only to myself, but to my loved ones, my children, my spouse, my family, my clients. I'm a small business owner. I don't want any undue harm to come to any of them.
You were introduced to him when you were 19, and you were
Yes.
working as a model.
Yes.
And similar to others, your friend said that giving Epstein a massage was a way to make money.
That first time, it was exactly what I thought it was. It was everything that I was told. It was a massage.
And what happened the second time?
Everything started the way that it did last time. It was a massage. He was face down. This time he didn't have any underwear on, though. He just had a towel over him. And I didn't really pay attention at the moment to that. It didn't cause any discomfort for me. And then he flipped over and he said, okay, top off. So I took my top off, just like last time, started at his feet, worked my way up. And when I got to his upper thigh and went onto his chest, he pulled at my jeans, like almost to unbutton them. And I stepped back and I said, no, I'm on my period, which I wasn't, I lied. And from there, he was like, oh, well, some of the girls like to have sex. You should really think about having sex with me. It would be so great. I'd be the best you've ever had, or something like that. And I was just like, no, I'm good. And so he asked me to massage his chest. And I remember doing that while he removed his towel and masturbated in front of me. And I was completely grossed out. And he had a bottle of Fiji water, which is the water he always had. And he said, make sure you stay hydrated. You need to be sure to stay hydrated. And I did. I took some water. And I have no recollection of anything for a minimum of 12 hours after that.
When you came round, when you woke up, did you feel different? Did your body feel different?
100%. I just remember waking up and feeling, oh my gosh, I'm sick. Like, I must be getting sick. Something's going on. I felt sluggish and like heavy. And then I got up and I went to the bathroom. And as a woman, you feel certain things when you've had intercourse sometimes. And I definitely felt that almost pressure.
Can I ask you, do you think when you were out cold, he raped you?
100%.
Right.
And I know that because he told me.
He told you he raped you?
Yes,
Oh my
because
God.
during the third massage, he once again tried to pull at my jeans. And I was like, no, I'm on my period. And he says, you don't have to lie to me, Nikki. I didn't put two and two together until I made that call on July 8th, 2019 to the FBI.
Listening to Nikki, do you understand that sort of fear that she's described?
Although at times I do, I find myself locking doors in my house that I didn't normally lock before. Or
But why?
There
Why?
were a couple of times where I would triple check that my garage was locked because I was afraid I'd go out and like my car would explode the next morning. Just weird random fears. But
Because you think what you might potentially be targeted because you've spoken out against powerful,
yeah,
the powerful
and because
elite?
I don't plan on quitting, and I still have a lot more to say that hasn't been said. So, yeah, I feel like there's already been people who have been silenced permanently, and I don't know why that would leave us. Why would we be left off that list? To be honest, I mean, even Jeffrey himself. I mean, whoever killed him silenced him. So.
You don't believe he took his own life?
Absolutely not.
No.
No.
None of us do.
None of you do? Do you have any evidence that he was... Do you have any evidence
the
that he was...
Why would we have that? That's because we knew him.
Sorry?
Yeah.
We knew the kind of person he was.
He would never. He knew
Would
he
never.
thought he was going to walk away from even this.
His
Yes.
ego is so big.
Yeah.
He knew he was going to get away with everything.
Yeah.
He got away with it before.
Lisa, you were a 21-year-old model and you were on a modelling shoot with a friend of yours and you both met Epstein on his island in the year 2000. How would you describe what happened to you?
I just spent the day there, and one of the young girls knocked on the door and said, you know, Jeffrey was ready for his massage. And I had to always remember that phrase. And like they all said, it was a real massage that turned into, with myself, it was an assault right after he turned around and started masturbating and assaulted both myself and the other girl that was in the room that day.
Okay.
I think that he liked the fear in our eyes. I think he liked that we were frozen and scared and didn't know what to do. And I think he got off on that. And
So the first time you were sexually assaulted, Andrew was on that island at that time?
Sorry, I left that part out. Yeah, I met him briefly. He was in the pool with a young blonde girl. And at dinner, he was getting ready to leave and he said goodbye to everybody at the table. And that's when I was telling Jeffrey when I had met him that I had grown up the first few years of my life in Oxford, England. And that's when he said, did you want to meet a prince? And so I just looked up and met him briefly and he walked away. So I didn't really think much of it till a few years later.
What is it that your friend told you that Andrew had done to her?
Well, my girlfriend, she was the reason why I started speaking out, because I wanted to speak for her, because she didn't want to, because the abuse happened to her. And in late 2003, she had been traveling a bit with Jeffrey, kind of like you had, to different countries and things. And she said she went to his Upper East Side house, and former Prince Andrew was there, and that he forced her to go into a room and to have sex with this man. And she didn't want to, and she argued with him, but she said he made her, and she went into the room for a few minutes, and then he kind of discarded her and walked out. And after that, she was just traumatized over the situation, and she left crying, and she called me right away, and she was like, you don't know who this man is. And she was just frightened, and she just couldn't make sense of why he made her do that.
And when you say he, who's the he making her do that?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Making her go into that room, and Andrew was in there. And she was required to have sex with him.
Mm-hmm. That's what happened.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew denies all wrongdoing. Mm-hmm. You, as I understand it, you confronted Epstein after that. What did you say to him? How did he respond?
I had just said to him, why did you make so-and-so do that? And he just had this little grin that he has, the smirk he has, oh, I like to have things on people. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, what?
He likes to have things on people.
So I remember I wrote it in my diary because I was like, that didn't make sense.
Have the police in the UK, Lisa, ever asked to interview you about what your friend alleged Andrew did?
The police, no.
The police in the UK?
No.
No. Should they? Do you want them to?
I think they should, yes. Yeah, I think they would learn a lot by talking to the victims. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you all this. so many powerful, connected, wealthy people were within Epstein's orbit, and they said they saw nothing. On the island, at the Palm Beach home, at the Manhattan home, whether it was members of the British royal family or US politicians or UK politicians or millionaire businessmen, they said they saw nothing. But you were there as teenagers or young women. You weren't invisible. So why didn't they see you?
We weren't important to them.
They saw. They knew what was going on.
I mean, I knew.
You couldn't be friends with Jeffrey and not know what was going on.
There's no way that, I mean,
That they didn't
It's
know.
impossible.
yeah.
Or it's impossible. Are you saying it's impossible for them not to have known?
Oh, I was explicitly told, nobody's going to ask your name, but if they do, say you're 18, but they're not going to.
You have very kindly brought photographs of each of you at the age at which Epstein initially abused you. I wonder if I could ask you to share those photographs with our audience. I wanted to ask you, Joanna, when you look at yourself then, how does that make you feel?
Very sad. This girl didn't know a lot. And I was a lot more innocent then.
And I can see that you've got tears in your eyes as you look at yourself.
Yeah.
Does it feel like a different life?
It does. Even my smile's different. I don't smile the same way anymore.
Okay, that is really sad. Shantae, when you look at yourself?
This was right after when the assaults were happening. I think I'd just come out of being in the hospital in this photo.
Why were you in hospital?
After the initial first assault, I went into a very violent vomiting attack that lasted for weeks, and I had to be hospitalized for it. I almost died, actually.
Oh my God.
And then I had somebody actually take me out of that hospital and nurse me back to health. Yeah.
Okay. Lisa?
I don't know, this is hard for me. I'm just looking at this picture very differently than I ever have before, because you like triggered me, because I was different here too. This is the island behind me.
Epstein's Island.
Yeah, so I was heading to it. Look how happy I am. I was on a photo shoot, I was with a friend, I was enjoying my life, and I had no idea what was about to happen to me. This is not what I looked like when I left the island.
Right. Jenna, Lisa?
I guess this was just like, it just makes me sad for her. I was already in a broken place with my family, and instead of someone like genuinely helping me, they just broke me more. So it just reminds me how hard it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wendy?
I mean, I look at ours together and it like breaks me because we're not like, it's not just me and her, there's others of us.
And you, obviously, you look so young because you were.
Kids.
I mean,
And it breaks my, that's how I remember Wendy, and she is my best friend from then till now. And me being the person that helped bring her. I mean, we were so stupid and so innocent at the same time. It was just, yeah.
you were innocent.
Yeah.
You weren't stupid.
We trusted the wrong people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing those with us. What is your message to survivors, Epstein survivors, who perhaps haven't come forward yet, or those watching you right now who may be being sexually abused or have been in their past? What do you want to say to them?
It's not your fault. And you're not the one who should feel the shame and dirty and wrong when somebody else did something to you.
You're just not alone in this ride. You're not.
Chantal?
I would say probably just find your voice and burn it all down until you're heard.
Until you're heard.
Yes.